All right, truth seekers. All right, we are live, of course, here on Forbidden Knowledge TV, and this is Roderick Martin, and I have the greatness of my guest tonight is Greta Chamberlain. We're going to get into a lot of esoteric knowledge conversation for you tonight, and to do that, let me just set the tone. One of the things that has really not just from Greta's accolades that have just caught my attention, but y'all know me. You know, I go down the reptilian world as far as the agenda and rulers or whatever it could be. But she has a story that she's going to share, and I'm not going to break it right now. You just got to hang around here a little bit to hear. But in the meantime, I like to tell each and every one of you, I hope you had a great weekend. And of course, I want to give you the word that I love you, and you know I do. And we're going to get into the conversation. So, Greta, I want to welcome you here, Young Forbidden Knowledge Podcast. And as far as that, and hopefully people will know that you will be in Dallas in a few days. And you, Billy, myself, and a lot of us is going to be talking about Project B.L.A.C, which is the Black Lexicon of Ancient Cosmic Knowledge, which we're going to be discovering and talking about, you know, a lot of things that connect us to the ancient cosmic knowledge and stuff. So anyway, share a little bit about yourself first, and then we're going to hop into a conversation.
Okay. Thank you for having me. This is exciting. I don't usually get an opportunity to talk about this part of my life.
Okay.
So it's going to be interesting today to be with you. I started off, I guess, utilizing my psychic abilities when I was a child. My mother suggested that I not tell anybody that I could do these things. And she told me that they would think that I was not well mentally if I, said, okay, I can do this and I can do that. So I learned early as a child to be quiet because she taught me, it turns out I found out after she died that she was part of the Eastern Stars. And so that also, that's very sacred in that group. So that's for, she said, always told me, this is not something you talk about. So some of the things that I learned that I was doing was to be able to know when somebody was going to make their transition. There was a gentleman on our block named Mr. Lawrence, and all the children liked him. I'm about the age of 7 now. And I went one day and I told my mom, I said, Mom, Mr. Lawrence is coming to die. She said, oh, Greta, don't say that. I said, but he is. And so about 2 days later, we were all in the neighborhood mourning his death. I learned that I was able to connect with people that were getting ready to make those decisions. And then I learned also that I could project myself to places where I really wanted to be. My great aunts were going to a funeral, and I was staying with them while my mother was working, and she would come and pick me up. So this particular day, they were going to a funeral, and I wanted to go. And they said, you can't come. I was old enough to be able to stay by myself. So they said, well, you can't go. So by now, I'm probably about 9, something like that. And I was just so upset that I could not go to that funeral.
Wow.
So I projected myself. I didn't know what I was doing. Children just do things. We have these experiences. We don't know what they are. So I projected myself to be in the car, the funeral car, in between both of my aunts. And we were in the cemetery. What became significant, though, was that the car that we were in rolled over a big snake. A big, long snake was in the cemetery, and the car rolled over it. Okay, so the next thing I know, I'm sitting back on the couch. facing the TV in my aunt's apartment. When they got home, I told them, I said, I was there with you. And they said, no, you were not, Greta. Stop saying that. I said, I know I was there with you. I was sitting between the two of you. No, you were not. You were not there. I said, yes, I was. I saw when the car ran over the snake. And then they realized that there was something to that because a car actually ran over a snake when they were going into the cemetery. So I started using those things, not knowing, what they were. And so as I grew older, more psychic experiences came apparent. Then I went to Africa. I lived in Africa for 4 years. And my first husband, he was a very spiritual person involved in all kinds of things. But, Africa is a very spiritual place, to say the least.
Okay.
And so he introduced me to the seventh book of Moses. I don't know if the audience is familiar with that. I think it used to be part of the Bible before the Nicene Conference, which took a lot of things out. And I think that was one of them. But the seventh book of Moses, you can usually get it at I don't know if it's on Amazon. You'd have to go to a specialty shop that sells books on the occult, and you could probably find it there. But it's a book that has a lot of sigils in it, which are like pentagrams, things that you would draw on the ground. Because my husband told me, he said that he could conjure spirits. And I was a very curious child, and I'm still a very curious adult. And of course, I wanted to know, well, what is that? What are you talking about, spirits? What do you mean that you can draw? You draw these pentagrams or sigils on the ground, and you stand in the middle, and you conjure up the spirit that fits with that particular diagram or pentagram. But he scared me because he said, make sure. He said, you can do it. They'll come. He said, but just make sure you send them back, because if you don't send them back, they're going to be extremely angry with you, and I don't know what will happen. Well, of course, then that scared me. So I never really did it. I just had the book, and I said, well, I'll just put this aside. And that's kind of where I left that. So I was getting more, I learned about going to have someone do a reading for you. I never did that before here in this country. I had never been exposed to that. So I found out that many people in Africa will go and check out something to see what are your options, or what do they think is going to happen. Of course, my thoughts are changed on that as well now. But I became oriented toward that. I learned the difference between the people who do quote unquote good things and the people that will conjure up bad things. Like if you want to get a job or you want to make some money, okay, then you go to one particular person. You want to kill somebody, you go to the other person. So I knew that those two things existed. So I learned about that as well, and kept going and going. I just kept learning more and more. And yeah, go ahead.
So I heard you reference the Eastern Stars in the beginning as you begin to speak. How significant is this when it comes to? Because I got a friend, and his wife is like all Eastern Stars, but when I start studying and I start understanding their connection to some of the, I'm thinking more deeper occult things, but just like anything else, it's like they have put these organizations together and they do let other people in, but they don't know the truth of these organizations. Give me a detail why that appeared to be significant for you.
Well, it became significant for me because it was my mother. You know, I did not, my mother died in 2018. I still had not, there was a jewelry box that she had a lot of things inside. And I put off going through that because I said I just didn't feel like going through it. So finally one day I did. And I have a lady that's a wonderful friend of mine, and she's in Eastern Star. And I found this hat pin. You know, back in the 1940s, you know, women wore hat pins in their hats. And I said, "What is this?" And she said, "It's an Eastern Star emblem." That's when I found out that my mom was Eastern Star. She never told me ever in her life, but because of the hat pin, and then there was another pin. That's how I knew she was Eastern Star. And then when she said to me, "We don't talk about those things," that's part of it as well. So that's what the significance was for me to know that my mother was in such an organization.
All right. So maybe I need a little more clarification of the organization because, you know, again, I was at a grave site, not just a grave site, a graveyard. This was several months back, and I was doing a video on symbols and symbolism, but I wanted to kind of reference tombstones
Mm.
and how people leave messages behind that they really want you to know after they're gone. And so when I was out there, I started going through this section, and there was a bunch of Freemasons, you know, on the all the tomb headstones and different stuff. And then I noticed there was some buried next to their wives or together. One was the Eastern Star, one was this. But what really caught my attention because I had my drone and of course I'm feeling like, oh wait a minute, something's trying to go home with me, right? And so I had my protection sigil on and stuff like that. So I wasn't really kind of like, you know, but you can just feel, you know, the whole happy, they're happy I'm there stuff, right? And so I'm like, all right, you know, we're going to you know, look at this. But anyway, so there was a car parked in the distance, and I'm thinking, you know, I'm at this cemetery, you know, and I wasn't putting together the Eastern Star in the Masonic. So I'm thinking this just, you know, there was a white car there. They're gonna call the police, and this black man is walking around filming, and he got drones, and he's in the cemetery, you know, whatever. I'm not grave robbing, right? But you know, hey, we've been accused of a lot of stuff. So I was like, all right, I head out the door, I mean, around the other side. And when I stop and look over, it said, you know, historic colored cemetery. And I was like, wait, whoa, whoa, whoa. What's all this, all these graves with Masons and Eastern Stars, but colored cemetery? So I'm like, well, why, you know, what made that so significant? And so I started just kind of looking into it. And of course, you know, if I looked at the symbols and the pentagram and all that other Eastern Star, then I'm looking more into occult, esoteric, you know, hidden stuff, as opposed to when I would go over to a friend of mine's house and his wife is just pictures everywhere. They all just happy go lucky, dressed in white, you know, just whatever. And then I'm like, wait a minute. But then I started learning that with all of these occults, that they have this propensity to allow people into these organizations to kind of camouflage who they really are. So people up at down at the below don't even really know the true historic nature. That's why I ask you how significant it was. Now that your mother is saying we don't even talk about this, then I'm sure there were some reasons why. So that's why I was asking for more detail.
Yeah, because I don't really know about it because she wasn't one to say, "Okay, Greta, I want you to follow in my footsteps and I want
Mm-hmm.
you to join." I know that I've had two friends now that were in the Eastern Star Society, and they never really talked about it. You know, I had thought about joining, and the one question that I was going to be asked, I finally told my friend, I said, "Well, I, I'm not going to be able to answer that." based on how I feel that they would want me to answer that, because I'm in a total different place now. So I never, needless to say, I never joined it.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, I hear you. I think it's, again, it's one of those things to really think about before we get into. You said something about your husband, and I'm sure we're talking about the husband, or are we talking about the husband you married that was a reptilian telling you these things? And we're going to get into that in a minute.
Okay.
But let's go back to you having the gift to see beyond the living. Let's go in detail. What does this really do? And if, in other words, how does this life work? How does it work with you having this gift? What is your daily thing about? I mean, we're not talking about the movie where we're walking down the street and the guy's like, I see dead people, or, you're walking everywhere and you see a living and something else. So just kind of give, even for the audiences where this may be a new territory, break that out for me.
Okay. I have to start when I was a child again.
Okay.
Because my mother, back in the day, it was felt that if you went to a Catholic school, you would receive a better education than if you went to a public school. So then it became important for me to go to a Catholic grammar school. They let me in because because my father was Catholic, not my.
Okay.
But my mother and father had divorced, but I was still able to get into the school. So then I learned Catholicism, and the spirituality based on Catholicism. When I became 15, I decided, in fact, when I graduated from grammar school, I went to a public school. When I went to the public school, then I didn't keep very close net ties with Catholicism. So by the time I reached 18, 15, I started to move away from it and started to question some of the edicts that had come down. And then around 18, a friend of mine came over and he said, Greta, I found this religion. And I said, oh, really? He said, yes. He said, I think you'd like it. So I was searching. I was searching for a part of me, a part of my spirituality. I know I'm flip-flopping back and forth, but I hope everybody can stay with me. See, at 13, I said, I think I want to be a nun.
Okay.
I was started to investigate that. But then later on, I changed. When I was moved out of the school, Catholic school environment, it put me into all kinds of other things. And when my friend came and said, we were in college now, and he said, I found this religion. It was the Baha'i religion. So when I went to the Baha'i faith, it taught me to look at life in a sense of oneness.
Okay.
So from a spiritual angle, because in the Baha'i faith, you accept all religions. It took me into from looking in just one perspective to looking at another perspective. Okay. Then at the age of 23, I go to Africa. And then the gentleman I was telling you about was my humanoid African husband. He was
look, humanoid. I guess we're gonna make a distinction here. Okay.
Yeah, he was my human husband. So, and he was the one that exposed me to this other aspect of spirituality that I had never even thought about before. So, and just watching things that you could see in Africa, how people would be able to, there was a ceremony and the people would put things, I've forgotten what group it was, we had a celebration um, and in the town, and then there were men that would put these things through their noses, through their swords into their stomachs, and
Okay.
all that kind of thing. And they were walking around and they were not in pain. So I'm looking at that and I'm going, whoa, how did that happen? What do you have to know to be able to do that? You know, and that was the
Well, they be
beginning.
putting stuff in their lips too. Like,
Absolutely,
yeah.
absolutely. But see, that in the lips is a sign of their beauty. That is beauty.
Mm,
This
okay.
was sign of, strength. In fact, that's how I started to be getting involved in the strength of the mind. What can the mind do? That you can walk around and you've got a sword sticking in front of you, you're not bleeding, and you're walking around and I'm looking at it. You know,
Mm,
hey, so Africa became a very deep spiritual place for me. And my husband was Islamic, so then I started going to the mosque, and we, on Fridays and so forth, and he prayed every, the regimen and everything. So I got exposed to Islam as well. So that kind of opened me up as well to more acceptance of people. It was an extension
okay.
myself now, because here I am Baha'i. I'm married to a man who's Islamic. We pray together. I go to the mosque. I pray in the mosque. It really provided me with the opportunity to deepen into my inner being of who I saw myself becoming, and searching. So he died, and we gave him the imam came, and the imam asked me. Nobody prepared me for these things. They didn't tell me. I'm just here. I go through that whole mourning process, and I was asked by the imam, uh, "Did your husband pray?" And I said, "Yes, he did," because we would pray together. So I knew that. Um, and then they said, "Okay," because see, they bring one coffin. The coffin comes from the mosque. Everybody uses the same coffin, and when they
The
because I
same coffin or same style?
no the same coffin, the same coffin, because the coffin is made out of wood, and it was held at the mosque.
See?
When the imam came, they washed his body down with oils and wrapped him in white, and placed him inside the wooden casket. It's just plain, and people took pictures with me standing next to him. I had to turn my clothes inside out to show that I was in mourning. They had to decide, how I was going to mourn, because there was nobody there that was McFory, and McFory is part of the Mandingo tribe. He was coming out of Guinea. So there was a gentleman. Now we're in Liberia, because we were in Sierra Leone in the beginning, and we moved to Liberia. And Pa Kaba, he was like a father to us, to both my husband and myself. And he came from Mali, so he was Bambara. So being Bambara, he then there was a decision that was made that I would mourn like a Bambara woman, because I had to do some kind of mourning.
So what type of mourning is that? Or what is you know?
The essence of it. Uh,
Hmm.
one of the things is that I could not go to the cemetery, because only men take the men to the cemetery. Only women deal with women. So the brothers, well, not biological brothers, but brothers by just camaraderie, took him to the burial site and buried him. They put him in the ground, then they bring the casket back and take the casket back to the mosque, and it waits for the next person who is going to make their transition. In the meantime, now I'm left. I had to wear my clothes turned upside down, not upside down, inside out. I did that for the day of the funeral. And then after that, for 3 days, I had to wear all white, tie up my head in white. After 3 days, then I had to wear like, not a, yeah, I guess a royal blue. It was a bright blue, beautiful color, with the lapa, the top, tie my head. And I stayed like that in changing clothes, changing the outfits, but the outfits were all the same color. The tailor had to make them for me. And so I mourned for my husband for 40 days.
Wow. I mean, someone asked the same thing I was thinking in the chat. Did you actually see him get buried though? You know what I mean?
No, you can't go.
Yeah.
I was female.
Wow.
So this day, I still don't know where my husband is buried.
That's what I was just thinking. Like, wow, that is like, wow. I don't know if that's part of the mourning, the reason they do that, so that you're not gonna know, you're not gonna never see him again, you're not gonna know where he is, and would anybody tell you if you ask? You know what I mean? It's like this is just top secret now, so to speak, and he's.
I didn't ask. One thing that I was required to do was to give away things that he and I shared together, because that whole thing is a parting. You're parting. After 40 days, then I could marry again if I wanted to. But during that period, I'm going through the parting between him and I.
And that is like would that be what we call over here assets, or when you say give away things that you and him had?
Let's say like bed sheets that he and I used.
Okay.
Washed them, made sure all of that went out of the house. All of that.
Right.
I think that or somebody took it, I don't know, but my wedding ring was gone. So different things like that. Anything that he and I shared together had to leave. And then someone had to stay with me in the house. I had to have someone around me at all times. That's part of the cultural framework. And they took care of me,
Wow. I mean, that's pretty deep. Now, I know that in our previous conversation, and like I said, we're going to talk about this reptilian husband you have, and the kids and all of that. So, but before we get to that, you were with Saddam Hussein, correct?
I was with
Saddam Hussein, right? Or
Saddam Hussein?
Yeah, or something you mentioned. I thought something you said, or if it wasn't for him, it wasn't him. It was something you were over at some place when we talked the first night. Good Lord. Well, whatever it is, it made me reference his name this then, but I don't know. It was something that
I was his facilitator. I became his facilitator.
Saddam Hussein.
Saddam Hussein, yes.
Okay, so all right. Well, the way you just said it, like, where you get that name from? So now I'm going into my stupid brain. Like, all right, where did I get that from? So okay. So what did that detail being his? You said translator?
No, because what happens? See, by this time now we're segueing into me. Having met Dr. Irene Hickman, having learned now how to go remote, not remote viewing, because when I go remote, I'm going to remove low vibrational beings, and they usually know that I'm coming. So that's
okay. Yeah. Do they go run for the hills? We're gonna get into that too, but we're gonna discuss that deeply. And for those of you that know, Greta's going to be here. Let me kind of do a little advertising real quick. Greta's going to be with us this weekend, this coming up weekend in Dallas. It'll be, we're having a Project B.L.A.C. right here on the screen, you guys. Black Lexicon of Ancient Cosmic Knowledge. Billy Carson is going to be one of our featured speakers there, and him and I do some stuff together. And then we're going to have a panel, and the panel will be with Greta and Judith, who is our crystal custodian, and Leanda, which is also part of our team, but just actually. And you and her are going to get along really well, when we get into that. But anyway, I'll get into that deeper. But if you guys want to come, we still got a few tickets left. truthversusauthority.org take you there, or either you can go to innertruth.com, and you might want to take that VIP too, so you can hang out with us from there. So, but anyway, yeah. So we're gonna have a great panel. Leanda, you and her are going to get along really well, because she's really like contacting, or I don't know if she like contacting the other side, but she's definitely talks about that enough. So yeah, I'm going to make that introduction and pretty much for you there. But all right. Yeah, so I don't want to really stick around with Sada and Insane, because, I want to go into, you seeing, and like you said, these spirits see you coming. Are we calling them? Am I calling them spirits? What do we want to call them?
I call them individuals.
So we're gonna. So now when we reference to them as demons, we reference to them as all these different ones. So we're just gonna say individuals, and why not what people think they are?
Well, see, I don't believe in the concept of evil, and I don't believe in the concept of devils and demons. I just don't, because I've met so many different species.
Okay.
Not a whole. I'm sure there are people that have met more than what I've seen, but I've had to interact with them. Some of them have tried to hurt me in those interactions, because one of my jobs is to do remote depossession work. Okay. And so that means that I purposely go and remove anything of low vibration. And that's all they are. It's just low vibration. And that's how they operate. Because I've learned that every species has characteristics. Every species. So when I say species, I mean that a cell inside your heart is a species.
Okay.
Everything to me is living, because everything is energy. So, and as we go along, I can discuss with you further about that. But that is, so on many occasions, I've been given tasks to do that deal with, that deal cosmically with this entire universe. So there are many people feel that there's only one God for this universe, but there are three of them, and I'm sure they have all different kinds of names depending on what planet you're on and so forth. But one of the things I'm given tasks to do, and one of my tasks was to go to the Universal Federation and to bring a mandate from the three gods to the Federation. The Universal Federation, when you get there, to me, it looks like a big amphitheater, because you have species that are there, that are representative there. They're like the government. They're like the United Nations here on Earth, but it's for the entire universe. So I had to, prior to going to that, I had to get permission, because I'm not, I don't usually always talk about it, but most people that work with me know it, that I am Arcturian. So when I went, I had to go to Arcturus and get permission from the Arcturian Council to be able to go to the Universal Federation. So then that's how I got there. And I told them that the gods, there's a mandate that they would like the entire universe to be under unconditional love.
Right.
I told them that I would be back for the answer within 3 humanoid days, because see, time is a humanoid construct. When you go off world, there's no sense of that this is an hour, 2 minutes, a year. None of that exists like that. That exists here specifically for humans. So, but I can explain it and tell them that within two, 3 humanoid days, I will return. So then everybody adjusts that, so to know when I would be back. So I asked them. I got back within 3 human days, and um, they told me 50% of the universe was going to be in unconditional love, whereas the other 50% was not. Okay, by this time, I'm married to Datar, who's my reptilian husband, and we when I came back, then the battles started. There were battles out in space that and other realities that people that were here on Earth were not privy to. So those battles ensued for quite a while, and I was always sent to assist.
In what way?
When I go into quote unquote battle, I don't go with the idea that I'm going to kick your butt. I don't go with the idea that I'm going to fight you with physical things. I don't do that. I go with that I only give you unconditional love. That's the only way I deal with you. Dealing with unconditional love is much stronger than me saying, I'm going to kick your butt. So that is what I project. The energy that I project from my body goes out as a sense of unconditional love. My husband got captured, the tar, got captured about 3 times. Finally, I told him, I said, you need to stop creating being captured, because I have to always go out and find you.
All right. I got one, not to butt in, but let's go back so the audience know, where did you meet Qatar? And let's start with the relationship of the reptilian, and then I am going to bring you back to this capture stuff, because that is some good stuff. So let's create this love story, if there is one, because there was someone else in the chat earlier, and let me go back, and she didn't respond, but she put a chat that her boyfriend, let me see if I can find what she did say here real quickly. Let me just keep going. Well, let me not keep going. But anyway, let's go back into, here it is. She says that, I put it on the screen. I had a relationship with a reptilian that was like a holographic overlay of my then boyfriend. So that was like, I don't know how good that can get, but, all right. So where did you meet, and how did this, because most people just think, maybe just walk through the wall and then like, who are you? And I'm your man, or whatever. But so let's put some, story to it.
Okay. It has to, I have that the work that I do is very encompassing, and it comes through unconditional love.
Okay.
So I wind up in places because I go remote. I go into other realities where these beings are.
Mm-hmm.
A family, they live on a farm in South Carolina. The mother called me, and she said, "We're afraid." I said, "What's happening?" And she said, they're in our walls. They're walking in the walls, and they're making all this noise. And so I said, "I'm coming." So when I say I'm coming, all I do is go into myself, and I will project myself there. So I projected myself to the house, and I saw them. I heard the noise that they were hearing. So I had to go in and move those individuals out of there. And I have other I go in as a team, the realm of beings that I channel ever since I was a child. They are always with me. And we went in to remove those beings that were in the walls. So I didn't necessarily, at the time that I moved them, knew who they were, but I just knew I took them out and I send them off with I have dark angels and dark dragons. The energy changes itself into dragons because I just happen to like dragons.
Okay.
So dark angels, and what I mean by dark, a lot of people equate that to mean evil. That does not mean evil. What that means is that they are very strong. They are about, when they're in their full form, they're about 9 feet tall.
Mm-hmm.
And they are the angels that have my back. When I go out to do battle or I go out to do other things that are similar to that, they're always with me. So I would call on them to go in and look, make sure that we got all the residual energy of these individuals out of the walls. So then I knew that they were also outside. So I went outside because I had to clear them. It was like they were walking through tall grass and I could see the tops of their heads. I knew then that they were reptilian because I've had reptilians come through my house. I remember once I was sitting in my living room and one came and sat down and was looking at me, and I told him, I said, you did not have my permission to come to my house, so you got to leave, otherwise I'm gonna have to, move you out of here. So,
Right.
So in the meantime, I'm standing out there outside of the house, and they are walking. They're very tall, so I can see the tops of their heads. And they would usually, at that time, part of the uniform was a hat. They had a hat. I think it went this way, sat on their heads like that. And then the next thing I knew, I was in darkness.
Okay.
So I could only see black. I was in black, as though somebody had put me in a black hole. And so I asked the realm of beings, because they're with me all the time. I said, where am I? Show me where I am. And I saw gold bars appear. So then I knew I was in a cell, that I had been captured, and I was in a cell. And then I saw a being, another reptilian, come through the wall into my cell. After that happened, then I just didn't. I tried to get out before he came.
Okay.
And I couldn't figure out how to do that. And I had a friend of mine at that time. I called her because, remember now, I'm in a cell, but I'm also sitting in my bedroom at the same time. So I'm able to call her, and she said, okay, I'm coming. I said, okay, good. So then I see her come in to where I was. She's on the other side of the bars, and I'm on the inside part. And she said, Greta, I can't get you out. I said, well, that's interesting. I said, I tell you what you do. Go home. I'll stay here because it couldn't get me out. And when I wake up, then we can come back and figure out how to get me out of here. She said, that's a good idea.
Okay.
So then I went to sleep in my physical space in my own house while I was sleeping inside the cell at the same time. So we divide ourselves up into aspects. See, we don't know the power that we have as humans, but we have the power to divide ourselves. And scientists are trying to figure out how to clone things, and we already have the capability of cloning ourselves. When you go out to do remote work, then you have cloned yourself. You don't have to leave your house, the physical reality that you are in, to be in another reality. So I can't remember what we did because it was quite a while ago. And I got out. And I said, "Oh, I'm so glad I'm out of here." And so in my bedroom to this day, I have a portal, a passageway, that
Okay.
passageway into other realities. But only it's been set up so that only people, only individuals, because it's not people, only individuals of high consciousness, and I don't even like to say high consciousness. I like to say maybe frequencies. The frequencies are different, and so people can come back. Individuals can come back and forth. So this gentleman that I did not know of came into my room, and I said, "Okay," but I knew he was the one that I was with, that I spent the night with then, because we laid down on the floor. I remember laying down on the floor. I don't remember what happened after that. Still to this day, don't remember. So, but then he would come and get in the bed with me. And I talked to the realm of beings. Because he originally, the reason why they came, I have to go a little backwards for you. The
Okay.
reason why they came was that I became a formidable foe. And they wanted to do one of two things. They wanted to kill me, which is totally impossible to kill anybody, but that's another discussion.
Okay.
Um, or they wanted to turn me. They wanted me to support their agenda, because they knew if I could support their agenda, then they would have really, an advantage of bringing about their own agendas to the universe. So I consulted with my realm of beings. I said, "What do you want me to do with this individual?" And the one thing they said was, "Love him." I said, "But he tried to kill me." They said, "We want you to love him." So when I'm given a directive like that, I follow it because I trust, because I'm not aware of everything. So that's how we started. And he started to fall in love with me. And then he decided, he asked me, he said, "Well, I want to marry you." And I said, "Well, no," I said, "I don't, at this time, I don't want to get married to anybody. You know, my daughter's father and I had divorced when she was 5, and she was gone by that time. So we're talking about maybe 10 years ago,
Right.
15, more than that,
Hang
15.
on 1 second. I need to block somebody at this channel. They don't know I'm looking over at you on the camera and I don't see you here, and they want to put in the chat that I'm being so rude because I'm not interested. But they don't know that I have to see you over here versus here. So I'm gonna block them out so they don't even come to the channel no more. Hang on. I'm being petty. I just want to be petty. Hang on.
That's okay.
All right. You're right. There we go. All right, let's go. Go
So,
ahead.
so then we fell in love with each other.
Right.
Um, he would bring me, it was in like a gold chalice type thing. And it had like a liquid in it that was kind of reddish like.
Right.
And he'd say, "Here, try this." And I said, "No, I don't want any of that. I don't want any, you know." And so I think that went on for about at least a month. He did it twice, and then he stopped doing it. And then another time he came and he said, "Here, I'd like you to drink this. Why don't you, go ahead, try it." So I said, "I'm tired of this individual trying to get me to drink this stuff." I said, "Let me just go on and do it." So I took it and I drank it. I said, "Oh," I took a sip of it. I said, "This is not bad." So I drank the whole thing, right? After I drank the whole thing, he said to me very nicely, he says, "Now we're married."
Oh no.
I said, "You have got to be kidding me."
I was given some chewing gum yesterday. Does that mean I'm married? Somebody like, "Here, take my gum." And I'm like, "All right." And then they're like, "Take 4 pieces." And,
Hey, hey, to each his
I guess an agreement is an agreement, right? You just never know, So
yeah,
yeah.
absolutely. So then that's when I realized, that I had done that. And so that's how we became married. So I am in his culture, you can have more than one wife. All the wives were reptilian. I was wife number 5. There's a wife after me, but I'm the only humanoid Arcturian wife. So he said, I want you to meet your mates. And one day I came to them. I spent maybe 2 or 3 days with them. By this time, though, I have to say this, Roderick. The universe created a planet where every sentient species can exist. If you want there. The idea was it was an experiment. We would call it an experiment, but it was to show that all individuals, regardless of what we looked at, like, regardless of what our belief systems were, we could get along. And so that was one of the planets that was being attacked by the other members, the other 50% that didn't want unconditional love to be followed through in the universe.
Okay.
So, so let me see now. So I am married, and the battles start. The battle started. Oh, I was going to tell you that he introduced me to the other wives. They were brilliant. I spent 3 days with them, and it was so interesting because they're so huge, and I'm so short. I felt like a little midget because they're very tall. They're like about 9 feet tall.
Now, what do they look like? Like the reptilian form or humanoids?
No, they look like a reptilian form. And the one thing I learned is that there are different types of reptilians. They don't all look alike. It's just like humanoids don't all look alike.
Okay.
Some of them have a darker hue in their skin. Some of them are lighter. Some of them are darker. But they don't play around. So, Datar, because of our marriage and because of him leaving the fold, he felt guilty about it to a certain degree, because now, see, he was in charge of everything that went on Earth. That everybody complained about. The reptilians are doing this and the reptilians are doing that. Okay, well,
is that like draconium, like we hear about, or what? Because there's so many different species and hybrid of these, right?
Right. Well, see, he ran the whole thing. It didn't matter what reptilian or what kind of reptilian you were, he ran it, and everybody followed his dictates, and the reptilian ship, was very huge, very huge.
Yeah, I know you remember telling me, get a piece of paper, put a dot in the middle, and then kind of circle it, and then that was how big the reptilian ship compared to Earth, right?
Well, I said if you take an 11.5 sheet of paper, draw an elliptical shape, from one side of the paper to the other, and then underneath it you put a pencil dot. The pencil dot is Earth. The elliptical shape is the reptilian ship.
Wow.
Yeah. So Earth is a very small place in the universe, and but anyway, that's another issue about realities and things like that. But we can get into that later.
Okay. Give me a second. All right. So everyone, if you've just been here with us, I have Greta Chamberlain. We have several hundreds of people in here tonight. Some of you joining us a little late. Make sure you go back to the beginning as she kind of tells her story of just the background. But once again, we're going to be in Dallas. I know people, the weather or whatever, but we in a warm place. We got heat and all the good stuff that we're going to be doing. and we're going to have a great time. So if it's a few people can't make it, I get notices, Greta. A lot of people are like, well, the weather, but we're going to have a great time. We're really going to have a great time together. And real quickly, we had our C4 this past weekend, which is called the Conspiracy and Consciousness, convergence community, where we're kind of bringing them both together. And attentively, you were becoming to that one, but yet you'll be here with Billy, which is great, even better for all of us. But I need to play a couple of. I think I got a clip that I need to play just to kind of let people know. We had a lot of people there. Here's this clip of a couple of people just kind of speaking. Let me play it here a little bit.
I don't know, lately, I guess I've been open up to a whole bunch of things, downloads, dreams, whatever. Now it's got to the point to where, I'm getting like serious information. I have about 5 faithful guides that come to me. They've seen it over time, how people share information, all of a sudden they're dead.
And thank you for that. I think one of the first things you said is, does someone have anything to share that might help someone else? Well, that was for me. I receive it, so thank you. Lately, I've been in the most uncomfortable space, but I believe it's because I'm going through an ascension, and the way I keep describing it is like I'm having growing pains. It's gotten to the point where it's really exciting, though, and magical, because the more I embrace the things I know people outside of myself might think, oh my gosh, that's so crazy. It is, but it's also so cool.
For a spaceship to come, and if you don't understand what you're here to do, how you're going to accomplish, how you're going to know what your gifts are. So that's what I do. Share that, let y'all know.
Conversation you had earlier about how can we fight the war, and I know it starts within. But at the end of the day, still, we have to pass down our knowledge to the youth.
All right, so we had a great weekend. A lot of stories, a lot more stories, different things that we were telling. We even talked a little bit about a Reptilian podcast, and we actually did a podcast. So I'll give y'all a quick clip, real quick now. So.
And then there's the other.
Did I have to guess that? Y'all get what I'm saying? I started this 20 minutes ago. I started down this path because I got the first hint, right? And now as we go, it's like remembering.
But there is an inner struggle within ourselves.
You're getting more comfortable. I know.
Honest,
You're getting comfortable.
so it's not everybody, it's just me.
No, I mean, you're on Front Street right now, but it's all, yeah, but keep going.
There's the inner struggle where we're trying to.
All right, but go ahead. I'm just.
No, I just think that it's something to look into. We have an inner struggle.
Sure you
Some
do.
of us, I guess maybe it's just me. I
Sure
don't
you
know.
do. But keep going. You don't feel like you belong here either, right?
No, I don't.
All right.
But
That's
I
right.
think there's a lot of us that feel like that.
There's
I
a
don't
lot of
think
you
I'm
out there,
alone.
yes. There's a
I
lot.
feel like I'm not.
You're not alone.
I'm not.
Yeah, a whole bunch of y'all came here.
From where?
Just, you're everywhere. See one walking right there. See, she admitted though. She tell you up front. I'm a Reptilian. All right, so we had a great time, just kind of going through, just give you guys. So we'll have another one February the 7th. So make sure you all get ready to come down to Dallas for that one as well. And then we're going to have Courtney and King Simon in town for Valentine's Day. So we're going to do numerology and psychic love frequency and fundamental. This is February the 14th on Valentine's Day. So, after, we have our great time here with Greta and Billy and Judith and Leanne and myself at a panel and all that. So we're doing a lot of great things here in Dallas. So make sure you all come and enjoy that there. All right. So back to our conversation. I got to kind of put those things out there and let people know what we're doing. But yeah, that was a live podcast, live area. We just taped it, with an audience and open mic, and we'll do a little bit this weekend. It'll be a little different, but all right, let's get back to Qatar, and then we're not going to stay too long. I just want you to hear a little bit. Now, you said you're going to bring us a picture of this husband of yours when you come to Dallas, right?
Okay, I'll bring it. In fact, I was thinking about that. I'll bring it. I'll pack it in my suitcase.
Please pack the photo. Yes, plaque the what the drawing or whatever you have, and bring it down. All right, so I'm gonna pause the um Qatar story. Let's go into as we come to a close tonight about clearing. Some of the services that you do for people. So let's go with that. So people, and then where they can find you, because you're working in the middle of the night, they can call you 911, and you will hop into and get those things out of their house, out of their wherever they are. So let's talk about that a little bit.
All right. I've learned, well, the realm of beings is always with me. So they're the ones that guide me through the work. And I always tell people they're the ones that are actually doing the work. I'm just the conduit. But people tell me that sometimes they feel that they feel a lot of darkness around in their where they live. And I can go in and I can see it. It will look like it's a lot of dark energy around there. Sometimes people are having arguments in their home, and it leaves the energy gets to be clouded in there, and it's all black. So I go in there and I can clean it out. I go in and we clean out the houses. I have different devices that I use to do that, but we clean out a person's house by way of cellularly and nanocellularly. Now, in science, nano means small, but for us, it means another layer. See, there's a layer here of cells that everybody talks about, but there's a layer underneath that I call nanocellular level. So we clean it out not only here, but also here.
Okay.
And we clean it out not only in the reality that you see, but we clean it out. I'll ask you, well, how long have you been feeling this? Maybe you've been feeling this for 5 years.
Okay.
Then we'll go to the 5 years up to present, and we'll deal with the realities and reverberated realities. See, there's so many different kinds of realities. So we go in and we just move the low vibrational beings out.
Okay.
The dark angels take them, because when they take them, then they move them and assist the dark vibrational beings to change them into light beings, to give them more of a higher frequency. So the work does not end. It's just that's part of the work I don't have to worry about.
Okay, gotcha.
Go in, we clean out the cells, the nanocells, all subtle bodies of everything. And I know I'm using language that the audience may not be used to, but next time when we talk, we can give a little bit better explanation. And the etheric bodies, I clean out everything. We clean out even the air that you breathe in your house, because you may not see an entity, but an entity can be floating on just a piece of air, a molecule of air.
Really?
So we clean out everything.
I mean, is this a constant thing, though? In a minute, I want you to, make sure we mention your YouTube channel, too. But is this constant, though? I mean, when you do a clearing or whatever, eviction, I'm going to call it, do they re-rent? Do they come back? Is this like an ongoing, you get rid of the same one, does it come back and, just back and forth,
I have 2 apartment buildings. One is a tall apartment building. Another one is an apartment complex. They're located in New York. And the 2 people that I facilitate for asked me, they said, can you clean out my apartment? So I clean it out, and then we come back and find out that here are these things again, because I can see them. I said, okay, if you're back in here, that means that the ley lines that the apartment is on is not stable.
Okay.
See, if the ley lines get off, then the whole apartment building can open up to other realities, and then these individuals can come in.
Now, wouldn't an apartment have to be built on the ley lines? Ley lines, I'm sorry.
Well, they might have started off like that, but somehow they don't stabilize.
Okay.
And I've gone in twice. Now I only do the apartments where the individuals that I facilitate for live.
Okay.
And I protect that, clean it out, put black energy at the door. So the black energy is going to stop the entities from coming in. They can't get through that.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. I mean, that's pretty interesting I just don't think people realize. I think their lives, and even mine, been this way where we just think how we feel is normal, but not knowing that there's attachments been there for probably quite some time, until we get to a point where you can know there's a difference. But real quickly, what's the name of your YouTube channel?
Dr. Greta.
Dr. Greta?
Mm-hmm.
Let me see. All right. I don't have a way to put the link in over here, but all right. So just y'all type in to find her on YouTube, Dr. Greta, DRGRETTA, and you will find her YouTube channel for sure. And Diana says she saw us in Dallas. So great. Yeah. So having said that, I don't know how detailed that we're going to be going in Dallas. I mean, we got hours and hours of us doing it, and then we'll hang around for the VIP, or of us just kind of bonding afterwards when everyone is gone at the same place. But I don't think we need to be doing a clearing for anyone, right? Or it's just kind of like, would you like look over there and be like, oh, that person, you got a whole tribe hanging on you. We need to do something for you.
Some people have asked me to do facilitation work for them.
Okay. Yeah.
But, on a podcast, I've had some people. Alan Steinfeld was on our podcast, and he was talking about that his shoulder was hurting. And he turned to me out of the clear sky, Greta, can you fix it for me?
Okay.
So I did that right on the program. But like Debbie Dashinger, we were only supposed to talk for an hour. We were talking for 2 hours. She spent an hour. This was about 2 years ago. She spent an hour just talking to the realm of beings through me. And we wanted them to do a healing on her. But the only reason why I don't like to do that type of thing, because I never know what I'm going to find. And that's okay. It's okay if I'm in a private setting. But see, I'm bound by HIPAA. HIPAA means that I can't go around talking to other people about your situation.
Gotcha.
So I asked her, I said, are you sure that you want your audience to know some of your deep thoughts and inner challenges? Do you really want? So I did something really simple with her. But if people want to do that, then they'd need to let you know that they'd like me to do that. There is a cost to it, though, but it's a very minimal cost in comparison to what it's worth. The realm of beings won't let me charge the actual price for it. So,
now would it be now when you have people like, as you saw that video clip I just played, where she said that she had the lady said she had 5 guides. What keeps the clearing from clearing the guides versus something else? Because they're all in the same realm, all under the same energetic thing. No, well, one is lower vibration, I will assume. But do by mistake we get the wrong ones?
No, there are no mistakes ever.
Okay.
Everything is on purpose.
Okay.
Because each individual person creates their own personal reality. So, like I took a gentleman today out of several portals that he was in, and I had to go to 10 years prior to that to remove him. You'll always see there are 3 things that we can experience as humans. We can experience dreams. If we have a dream, it's like dreams are symbols. That's why people do dream interpretation. I think one of the women that's going to be on the panel you told me about, I think she does that.
Yes.
So it's a dream interpretation. But the next thing that you can go into is a portal. You'll know that you've been taken, your aspect or astral body, depends on which one they take. You've been taken because you're going to have a nightmare. It's going to feel like, whew, man, I'm glad I'm out of there. That's a nightmare.
Okay.
When you have a nightmare, that means you're in a portal. And then you usually call Greta. Greta goes into the portal and takes you out of there. The other thing is visions. Visions, you can have a vision. You'll know it's a vision because you're going to, if you're in a room, it's going to be like you are really there. It's going to be as clear as day. That's a vision. But portals, those are, you're snapped up by other low vibrational beings, and you're brought into these portals. They like to scare you. And when they scare you, you become frightened, and then they can siphon off your energy because that's the energy that they use to exist.
Yeah, I don't think people, and I like to stop using it when I say I don't think people. I just think it's more common for us, and I'm with them all, that once again, when we think about fear, energy, group, all of these things, that there's just something about that's creating this. And it can get all the way, I guess we don't have to discuss that, but it goes all the way to just common everyday things we're watching on TV, things that, because just as much as those, entities are on the outside, they got their comrades on this side working to create that energy for them. And using mechanisms that we just think, oh, this is just regular, TV or, algorithms, all these things. And it's like, if they can put a bunch of fear in the news or just different places, somebody is loving that stuff, and they're having a buffet off of it.
Absolutely. I hope that when we come on Saturday, that we can talk about the 9%, because that's the 9% of the universe that has not accepted unconditional love. And
Okay.
one things, and they want Earth in this reality, because see, if they can keep the chaos going, then it's beneficial for them, because then they can soak up that energy.
Okay.
So it's like Earth becomes like a feeding ground for low vibrational energy. And that's, I hope we can talk about that. The 9%.
I'm making note of it right now in the phone, that we can talk about the 9%. And well, I have our, team watching too. So I'm texting them and letting them know, hey, make sure we bring it up in conversation. And so we would definitely bring it up Saturday when we're doing a panel. So I think that'll be an interesting part. Yeah, but go ahead.
No, because it was 15%, and I was sent out there. Sometimes my tasks are done by myself, but like I said, the realm of beings is always with me. So I was given the task of going and lowering the 15%, and I did that. That's only by sending unconditional love. I was out in space, and I looked around, and I was surrounded by about 100 to 500 space battleships. I have found an AI picture of battleships, and I got the little picture of a Black woman in the middle. And
Okay.
that's what it kind of looked at. Because when I went out there, then they all came, and I said, you all have got to be kidding me, because they decided that they would try and kill me. But if they bonded together, maybe they'd accomplish it. And I told them, I said, now you can't do that. I'm not
Right.
going to allow you to do that. So over the years, I've been gathering up a lot of energy. My energy is very strong. So all I did was hold up my hand, like this, like that. And I
Okay.
go away. So out of my hand comes a lot of energy, and it moved all those battleships away.
Okay.
Yeah. and we brought it down to 9%. And then I was told to stop. I said, "You really want me to stop?" They said, "Yes, you must stop." I said, "Okay." So I left that. I left that alone. And then we can talk about. I was flying from an expo, Conscious Life Expo, in fact, just this year, not this year, but last year in February. And I was on the plane. I got on my plane to come home, and all of a sudden I saw nothing but blackness. And
Okay.
I said, "Okay." I said, "I am not on this plane anymore. I am gone." And so I said, and I wound up on one of the battleships that was there. And my friend told me, she says, she's a medium. She said, "Greta, there were two space battleships over California, and it was not an AI picture. Somebody saw it and used a camera and caught that." And then I knew, I said, "Oh, that's where they took me." Because I had to have been gone for about 3 hours, because to go from Los Angeles to Chicago takes about 4 hours. And I realized when I woke up, I was very disoriented. And I said, it was a good thing I woke up so people wouldn't have thought I was dead. And I had missed all of the snacks, and I had missed the garbage pickup. And I heard the pilot saying, "We are coming to land in Chicago. Welcome to Chicago."
Okay.
Well, thank you for putting me back on the plane again. So maybe we can discuss that. I won't discuss it now. It's a very interesting story because I was given the task.
Okay.
And we can talk about that when I come.
Yeah, we shall. We shall do that. I am definitely excited. Again for you coming, and you'll be in. We're Dallas. Again, we got a little cold weather here. I don't know who brought it, who's bringing it, but we've been pretty warm for the last couple of weeks and stuff. But I want to appreciate you just hopping on here tonight. And I'll see you in a few days when you get here. We're all kind of, and Tony will be here with us and all that good stuff. And I just want people to know that you're here for them. And that if they need to, again, y'all can find her YouTube channel, just Dr. Greta. That's, at Dr. Greta if you go to the YouTube handle. But just go and put, I have it on the screen there, Dr. Greta Chamberlain, and you'll find her channel. And you'll be really, really, what's the word I'm looking for? There are some things there I want you to go and hear some other stuff she does. And let's not talk about, but let's just mention real quickly that you were Grammy considered. And what was that for?
Oh, that was our album. It's called In Silence.
Okay.
Audience can find it on YouTube. They can find it on Spotify, Apple Music, various other musical platforms. And it was the writings of the realm of beings, and I'm reading that to the foundation of singing bowls. So it's very extremely meditative. So I really encourage the audience to listen to it. On
Okay.
YouTube, just put Greta Chamberlain In Silence, and it'll come up. There's 7 pieces. One of the pieces is called In Silence. Another one is Treatise on Compassion. Another one is on illusions.
Okay.
Yeah, so people tell me they love it. I haven't heard anyone say that they have not loved the album. And we want to get it out there more, to the public so that people can take advantage of it. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I mean, that's one of the things that we going to listen to. I know we're not bringing, the bowls and stuff down, and pretty much. But I'm excited. I just can't wait for us to get into some deeper conversations because,
Yeah.
and again, and see the picture. Make sure we bring that photograph and all those things as well. But anyway, I want to appreciate you coming out tonight here on Forbidden Knowledge TV, and definitely you should get a few people following your channel, and definitely people reaching out for service, because I think it's just one of these times that we should be more exploratory or have more exploration when it comes to these things. And then we'll just kind of look at it from there. So everyone, y'all give her a round of applause to be here tonight. But if you're going to be in Dallas Saturday with our Project Black, you're going to be able to meet her directly. And Billy Carson will be in town as well. So if y'all have friends and family, let them know that they should come to the event. Even though people's talking about the weather a little bit, we decided to put the event inside instead of outside. You know, we was going to be out in the parking lot, but we went on and got this place with heat and all that. So humorously, you all going to be just fine. And so, all right, Greta, thank you. And I will see you in a few days. Okay.
Okay, Roderick. Thank you.
All right. Okay. All right. So that is Dr. Greta Chamberlain, everyone. And I think you should really, you know, there was a lot of questions that I could have went and a lot of directions that I could have went with her tonight. But I just told her to be here just a little bit, you know, just kind of, you know, touch on. But I'm going to have her on our shows a lot more in the future. So you'll get some other things and other answers and everything else. So, you know, but again, make sure you all, I know I saw some of you that said that you subscribe to her channel. So make sure you do that. And again, do not hesitate to reach out to her, you know. And then go ahead and spread this video a little bit, share it, and again, watch her channel, put some comments on her channel to let her know that you watched her there and everything else. But again, if you come into Dallas this weekend, you're in for a treat. That's all I can tell you. Project Black, the Black Lexicon of Ancient Cosmic Knowledge. And again, Billy Carson will be there in Dallas with us as well. And we're going to, you know, just kind of go there. So again, I love you all. Make sure that you know how we do it. Put I love you all in the chat for the other people who are going to be able to see this later to know that this is what we're all about, spreading love. And if you have not heard the words I love you over the weekend, which a lot of people have not, but I did. I think I know I did. And so you all, you know, it's the wonderful thing for you to be able to know. Not I think, but I did. And you have to know that the importance, as she said, it's all about love, right? We've been going down that route quite some time, right? We really have. And so therefore, I want you all to experience that. So we got a few I love you in the chat already. And so thank you all, because it's for the people who's going to watch this later. That's what it's really about. And when you do that. So again, I'll look into this camera, you know, when I'm talking and see her on the screen, I have to look this way. So sometimes it looks like, or I'm taking notes on my phone, because there's things we're going to be talking about Saturday live when we're in person. And so therefore I wanted to give the opportunity to do that anyway. So with that being said, it's been a plum, pleasing pleasure as well as a privilege. Make sure you hug someone. And also, again, you can hug yourself. You can do that, you know, just don't squeeze too hard, but you can. And I'll talk to each and every one of you. We'll be back on we probably be, I may live stream Thursday on my personal channel. Let me put it on the screen if you're new and if you have not seen my personal channel. So make sure we go there. Here it is on the screen. Screenshot this, Roderick Martin, Truth versus Authority. So you're definitely welcome to and should go there and make sure you subscribe to that channel as well. And we will do so. So with that being said, we are countdown out, and let me turn this thing off here for you. There we go. All right, so love you all. See you another time, and y'all have a good one.
UFOs, UAPs, unidentified anomalous phenomena, unidentified aerial phenomenon.
Who are they? Where are they from? And what is their intent?
All questions that immediately come to mind with the mention of UFOs. A Pentagon report is detailing a dramatic increase in UFO sightings, more than 350 since 2021. Many of them are explained as being drones, birds, or weather events, but about half of them remain unexplained.
There's a whole fleet of them. Look on the ASA. My gosh. They're all going against the wind. The wind's 120 knots from the west. Look at that thing, dude.
This video taken by the Navy showing what he describes as pyramid-shaped UFOs flying over the USS Russell off the San Diego coast in July of 2019. The Pentagon has since confirmed that the video is authentic.
Headline edition, July 8, 1947. The Army Air Forces has announced that a flying disc has been found and is now in the possession of the Army. Army officers say the missile, found sometime last week, has been inspected at Roswell, New Mexico, and sent to Wright Field, Ohio, for further inspection. Late this afternoon, a bulletin from New Mexico suggested that the widely publicized mystery of the flying saucers may soon be solved. Army Air Force officers reported that one of the strange discs had been found and inspected sometime last week. Our correspondents in Los Angeles and Chicago have been in contact with Army officials endeavoring to obtain all possible late information. Joe Wilson reports to us now from Chicago. The Army may be getting to the bottom of all this talk about the so-called flying saucers. As a matter of fact, the 509th Atomic Bomb Group headquarters at Roswell, New Mexico, reports that it has received one of the discs which landed on a ranch outside Roswell. The disc landed at a ranch at Corona, New Mexico, and the rancher turned it over to the Air Force. Rancher W.W. Brazil is the man who discovered the saucer.
There's footage and records of objects in the skies that we don't know exactly what they are.
More people are coming forward with their own sightings.
Videos recorded by U.S. Navy personnel have added a new layer of evidence to the current national debate about UFOs.
Right at that moment, I saw what looked like 5 lights flying in formation in kind of an inverted check mark.
The NASA independent study team did not find any evidence that UAP have an extraterrestrial origin. We don't know what these UAP are.
The mysterious flying objects are still a mystery. NASA will continue investigating them and has appointed a director of UAP research.
Technology that we faced was far superior than anything that we had.
Man, look at this crime!